Before I address my slightly growing fan base over why I've taken so dang long in making this, I want to point out this. The guide I read basically made a joke here saying it's like, there's an ancient pharaoh, but turns out it's not Yami, Atem, whatever the heck you want to call him. It was Abydos III, and I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, no, it's not Yami. Don't know what you're thinking, but yeah, this event's rather interesting. You just have to hear Banner talk about Abydos, then just go over to the lighthouse at night, and you just have to sort of know how to do this. I think watching the anime would explain that a little bit, but well, this happens. So, like I said, time to address why I've been so bad at updating this, and why this episode is so subsequently, well, comparatively long. It's that I've been having a lot of unfortunate events befall me kind of in a row. First off, I got obsessed with Mega Man Battle Network 5 and trying to obsessively 100% that game, which I have, to the ability of legitimately doing it on a DS. And I mainly got into that because I was getting bored with all my other stuff, sadly. And I wasn't interested in continuing the LPs. That plus I was getting kind of bored of doing this, but hey, I'm back now. There was also the fact that I got sick a week. I was thinking, hey, I could continue this, and I have plenty of free time to do so. And then I got another event, and then I had to do another event, which was going to DC to hang out with my sister there. And I was recovering then. Here I am now. I was also in a drive to finish out my summer reading. Yes, that's right, I actually did my summer reading over the summer and not the day before. Surprise. I'm a nerd. Get over it. So, here I am. And now to discuss Abydos. He was really interesting in the anime in that, he's all like, spoilers, oh, I never was able to lose because all my guards and servants purposefully lost. But his deck isn't actually that bad. It's kind of a semi-zombie themed deck with the main focus being the first, second, and third sarcophagus, bringing out the Pharaoh card, which allows you to bring out the usually low-leveled zombie monsters and attack your opponent directly. One of those simple, average, single card, single effect focus decks that you see so often in the TV series. But in this game, zombies aren't quite as broken as they are in Duelist of the Roses. Just, my goodness, those cards are broken in Duelist of the Roses with the effect of pumpkin actually following the anime of getting some attack points every turn, and those duels can last a while, so you can get plenty of attack points, and that game is all about trying to get your attack points higher, but that's another long story. So like I was saying, his deck is really good in here because, all of the later duelists finally get access to all the good cards. Which is bad for you because you've been so used to having them for a while if you've been using the card pack trick and getting all the rare cards, that you'd be thinking, oh, these guys couldn't be too bad, I have the advantage over them. Wrong, you don't anymore. They have the same thing over you. And I'll get into more of what happens if you don't follow the card trick in the next duel, because guess what? I was able to get even more of the Shadow Rider, not Shadow Riser. I I think they are the Shadow Riders. It's been so long since I've been here, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Shadow Rider saga. Yes, I was able to get 2 of the last 3 in here. And then the next part, which I've already gotten planned out, I'll have the ability to finish up the last one. Oh yeah, and I decided to have a little bit of mercy on him and let him use First Sarcophagus to get his Pharaoh signature card out. But of course, by then it was all for naught because I had plenty of cards able to beat him out anyway. An interesting thing is that the guide also noted how Vampire Lord is supposed to be one of his signature cards, which is odd because, you know, Camula did that way first anyway, and she even had Vampire Genesis, a stronger version of that card. But I guess it is sensible because it is easy to get out, it has decent enough attack and a decent enough effect. So that was just one random thing I wanted to know, but the main reason I want to do that is show how, even if they get their signature card out, the duel can still be all for naught. Heck, I even do it in the next duel. Then I got lucky enough because since all the zombies have like 0 defense, literal 0 defense, or like something pitifully low like 100, Big Bang Attack was easily able to overcome his weaker monsters, and I could have even attacked the Vampire Lord and still done fine. But with that, we get to beat out Abydos and show this is the second time that we've ever just fought somebody for the fun of it, because they joined the cult for the fun of it, not really for the, you know, evil purpose. And if you're wondering who else, that would be Tanya the Amazon. And then next is gotta be, you know, kind of a cop-out for the series if you really think about it, because, I mean, they completely and totally reused Titan. I mean, come on, they couldn't think of one more character. They decided to go with the random idea of, oh hey, let's reuse a villain that wasn't much of a big deal before. Except in this game, he actually is a pretty big deal. I mean, I don't know what happened between the first and second time you fight him, but he gets a very good deck. Oh yeah, note here, I'm just kind of wasting time, because that's what you do. You have to waste time until it's night. Then you have to go to the abandoned dorm area, which will pop up at night. So, yeah, Titan, the first time I played through this game, I didn't know about the card pack trick, so, you know, I wasn't expecting Titan to be too hard. I was able to beat him just fine, but the only deck idea I was really able to get in there was kind of like a card plus beatdown idea with the same cards. Because, you know, that's all you can really get if you can't get access to all those rare cards and multiples of those rare cards. Fusion's usually a big thing I used a lot back then too, but I use them even more now because I have access to all the cards and all the subsequent fusions you can make. The point is, this guy's deck is almost like anti that deck theme. So I remember just having the roughest time. I mean, I didn't even have a rough time being the rest of the duelists in the game. Their decks are a lot worse. But, I don't know, just something about this guy's deck made it so annoying. That plus, his theme hasn't changed, his deck hasn't changed that much, he just gets rarer cards. But something about those rarer cards that really make this guy a lot harder. One sad aesthetical nitpick that I have against the Titan refight is how they didn't give him all those weird, funky, sinew, vein things that he had the second time you Shadow Realm. You didn't see me there, but I was doing the kind of air quotes. Which is sad, because now it just looks like he is exactly the same as before, and will probably confuse anybody that hasn't watched the series, but this is made for people who watch the series, so I'm probably just beating a non-existent dead horse. Of course, that is one thing I can talk about. It's how, you know, there's plenty of stuff out there that is like, you know, for fan service or whatever you want to call it, especially in the realm of buying. But, you know, I don't think that doing a fan service video game tie-in, now movie sellout is pretty bad, like the Yu-Gi-Oh movie sellout that I fell into. But I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's whenever people start talking about that it's wrong, is whenever it starts looking bad. Like, for example, in the Sonic realm, with the Sonic 4 games coming out being kind of half... Well, it started out being a complete sellout with all the nostalgia stuff in Episode 1, but, you know, Episode 2 is like kind of half and half, new and old, but, you know, people are all like, man, this game is just a sellout, it shouldn't exist, blah blah blah, and yet Sonic fan base will immediately turn around and buy out the game. Sorry, I got kind of a dry throat going on. Will buy out Sonic Generations and will give it so much praise, even though it is a far worse example of fan service. So, really, I think people use that as a bad excuse to hate on something. It's like, you know, it's like that one irrational person that will say anything to support their idea, and they just run out of stuff to say. It's like, what excuse can I find to call this a bad game? Oh, it's nostalgia. Fine, I'll go on that. But whenever people are okay with it, even supportive of the game, they won't talk about it. Shows how hypocritical people are. Well, that's a long, long discussion that will probably be talked about in a later part, because that goes into the topic of opinions, which is, thanks to the internet, a really big deal now, since everyone has access to everyone's opinion. But, yeah, now back to the duel. Basically, I was destroying him until he got out his signature Skull Arch Fiend of Lightning, but since he didn't have out Pandemonium, I was able to deal with that pretty well. And he kept on hurting himself, actually, because of that. Because of Skull Arch Fiend's effect being allowed to make him lose life points, while Pandemonium would have stopped that, but who cares, since he's being stupid and not doing anything, and I'll just let him do so and let me win. Yeah, the AI can be pretty bad in recognizing stuff that would make it lose, like I've already said before with the, that one card, like the Forgiving Maiden looking card. So here I was abusing Command Knight's double effect, making it impossible for him to attack, and I was just kind of biding my time. It's not even a war of attrition, it's just me waiting for him to lose. Thing which is, the AI just bad with figuring out how it's hopeless in some situations, because, say for example, Pokemon. Everyone hates how the Pokemon trainers will use some of the cheapest tactics alive to just lengthen and lengthen these battles. Like, say you're fighting the champion, they have one Pokemon left, they will try their best to keep that thing alive, even if you have all 6 of your Pokemon all full health. Well, that's probably not going to happen with the champion battle. You know, your you're basically just, you're going to win, but for some reason the AI won't recognize that it will lose. It's especially prevalent when you're doing just trainer battles and say they have Pikachu left. Pikachu's a pretty hated Pokemon for its evasion tactics. That Pikachu will use Double Team ad infinitum, and it'll just lengthen the duel. It has no healing, you have plenty of healing. It just seems like a waste of time on your part. But I don't know, that just seems like another long topic. Now, as you can see, this is why I don't usually talk about these duels, because it's kind of the same thing, and it's a nice long place for all the ramblings and stuff I do. Because it seems like a lot of people out there are all like, hey, stay on topic, we want you to talk about the subject. Well, if the subject matter is boring, I mean, plenty of the good YouTubers out there are popular because they're able to correctly handle how you spend your time in between all those boring parts that you can't really commentate on. I mean, Victor Ponovus is one of my favorites just because he's really interesting to hear whenever he's rambling. Daitai is known for that, however the heck you pronounce that name. But enough about that subject, because Atticus is revealing something that I'm pretty sure he didn't say in the anime, was how it's like Professor Banner was teaching about the Shadow Games. Oh. And with that, we're already spoiled for who's probably the last of the Shadow Riders. And with that, I end this part, and I'm probably just going to film the next part right away.